What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing great. Today we're going to be going over an account review for somebody who's mainly having problems with gearing their champions. So this is a player who has been playing for a while. We have Ninja. So we already know this player's been playing for, is it a few years now? Either way, they've been in the game for a while. Maybe not super active because they're only level 83. You get experience based on the energy you spend, more or less. So you'd be level 100 if you've been playing super active since Ninja. As far as spending, I think this player is a relatively low spender. We don't have the daily gem pack right now. We don't have a very high mini mix pack. It's literally the lowest cost mini mix pack you can have, $3. One thing I did notice though that I don't like is there is no XP boost. Now, if you're somebody who just doesn't have any XP boosts, then I guess it's gonna be difficult. Though you have 18,000 gems, I imagine you're probably still needing to level up champions. It just seems strange to me to not have an XP boost going. A lot of gear in the inventory. Like I mentioned, this guy's having trouble with knowing what to cleanse, what to get rid of, and what to keep, so on and so forth, and really just gearing champions in general. So I want to touch on a few different areas of the game, and then I want to go through actually helping him with gearing some champions and kind of my ideas and thought processes behind it. As far as the different areas of the game, where he's at, campaign, doesn't really matter, but as far as Nightmare, let's see if he's actually cleared it. Nightmare campaign, yep, there we go. It's cleared, no problem. As far as dungeons, Iron Twins, take a quick look at that. Doing stage 15, sweet. Potion keeps, don't care about those. You should be doing them. Stage 20, do them for like a few days or a few thousand energy, and you don't have to do them for like a month or so. I don't ascend very many champions, so it's not super fast. Minotaur, definitely worth having a Minotaur solo champion. He may have a Minnow solo with Ninja. Ornn works out well too, but you have Sun Wukong, so Sun Wukong is a solid champion also, but having a champion to solo Minotaur while you have other champions getting their levels from like level 1 going to level 60, 6-star, working on the masteries is the best way to do it. Don't bring food champions, bring champions you're actually planning to use, which I've done many videos on that topic. So next thing, Ice Golem, Spider, Dragon, and Fire Knight. I already know where all these are at because I already looked. Stage 20. This should be stage 10 hard mode. I'm going to go over why in just a little bit, but hopefully I can give him tips and direction to actually get him to stage 10 hard mode within the next few, actually before the end of the year. Before the end of the year, this is more than possible. He has 18,000 gems, 3,000 energy. This is more than possible. So stage 10, Ice Golem's peak, stage 10 hard that is. Spider, he's currently farming stage 20, because the best time is 11 seconds with 5 turns. So stage 20 is what's being farmed. Stage 25 has been cleared, but stage 10 hard is what I want to see cleared. So stage 10 hard, a Spider, done. I'm going to build some teams as like kind of an idea for this video. And then Dragon's Lair, currently farming stage 20 once again. This is the reason why the gear is so slow to progress. He has tons of gear, hasn't cleansed it, doesn't fully understand what's best and what's not. So this is a perfect example of a player who hopefully will walk away with much more clear direction with his account. So he's pushed to Dragon hard mode, actually stage 6. I love that. It's fantastic. So getting to stage 10 is going to be amazing. However, if you've watched my channel for a while now, you'll probably know that I'm really not a fan of farming Dragon, especially if you've progressed to the point of clearing all the factions and doing your faction wars. This player is not getting a ton of perception gear, so Dragon is actually still valuable for this player because you're going to get the speed and accuracy sets that are usable. Toxic, he already won Key's Clan Ball, so it's really about to fall off, honestly. Like, Dragon would be on the lower recommendations for me still, even though he's not done with faction wars, but the speed and accuracy stuff could still be useful. Actually, to be honest, I wouldn't worry about Dragon, though it's definitely worth pushing to stage 10. I want to go over some ideas where you can be conservative with your gear and put your best gear on your best champions instead of spreading it out over the course of many different useless champions, basically. Fire Knight's Castle. So normal, stage 25 minimum, but I would love to see pushing to stage 6 hard. Fire Knight is a lot more difficult than any of the other dungeons, and stage 10 is basically out of the question, most likely, unless you have specific champions. But stage 10, or say stage 6 hard mode is definitely doable in this account. I believe he has Newt. If he does, no problem. As far as Sand Devil, we're looking for 2 champions, Godseeker as well as Ninja. I'm sure we have both those champions. Phantom Shogun's Grove, you need Gnarlhorn, and then some other champions, and you're going to be fine. Do we have a Newt? We do not have a Newt. Unfortunately, no Newt, but that's not the end of the world, because we can still build some Fire Knight stuff. We can do it for like stage 1 hard. Anything on hard mode is better than stage 25 normal. But worst case scenario, we just do stage 25 normal and get him some better gear for his champion. So stage 10 hard Ice Golem, stage 10 hard Spider, stage 10 hard Dragon's Den, Dragon's Lair, whatever he's staying in. And then Fire Knight's Castle, Stage 1 hard, ideally. Stage 6 will be even better on hard mode. But if nothing else, get to Stage 1 hard mode. You definitely can do that. I'd say Stage 25, but honestly, let's push up a little bit higher. He's already done 138 there. So it's definitely achievable. Sand Devil, Godseeker plus Ninja, no problem. Manual it up into Stage 24. And then just farm Stage 24. I imagine he has Godseeker. He sure does. So there we go. We are going to need some better regeneration gear most likely. So make sure you're jumping in there and you're farming out some more Fire Knight to get you better regeneration gear, which is something I want to talk about after we go through the rest of the team. So Faction Wars, I already touched on a little bit. I am working on Sylvan Watcher faction for him, which in 2 days, I guess is going to be Sunday. I need to jump back in here, Sunday/Monday. I need to jump back in there and finish out Sylvan Watchers. But Faction Wars is definitely something he needs to jump in here and do every single day and farm it. I got a feeling the presets are... Oh, the presets are here. This is incredible. Somebody finally listens and made the presets. This is beautiful. They're not all created, so there's more that can be done, but he does have the presets. So we come in here, Orc Faction Wars. It's super easy. We click the team. That's the very important part. Click the team, do super raids, run through it and farm it. But more importantly than that, clear all these stages. Boom. A free legendary book from there. We come over here to Ogre Tribes. Well, it's already cleared, but you're going to be getting much more rewards going through this. Obviously, everybody knows Faction Wars is something you definitely should be completing, but he has the champions. We just got to get the gear switched over, and then boom, all these stages are going to be able to be cleared. You're going to have Lydia, which could have been done before Sylvan Watcher opened up, and unfortunately now he has to push into Sylvan Watchers, but neither here nor there. Not trying to roast the account. I'm just trying to say, hey, Faction Wars, super important. It's going to give you your forged materials to get perception, resilience. You have to be doing your Faction Wars. If you do not do your Faction Wars, you're holding your account's progression back significantly because you're getting, let's see, epic legendary materials as well as glyphs. I mean, that's incredible. Do your Faction Wars. 100% do your Faction Wars. Now, as far as Arena, actually, let's check the Great Hall real quick. The Great Hall is currently at level 99 with Ninja. Very low Great Hall. However, this all goes back to the entire thing of, hey, the gearing is what he struggles with. So keep in mind, this is somebody who's asking for help specifically with gearing. So we're going to go through and give him tips and advice to take his champions to the point where now he can boost his Great Hall up, farm the arena much faster, make this something where you don't even have to think about it. Just jump in here. Okay, we're going to use Arbiter as a speed booster into Siphi. Actually, no, Siphi is a speed booster. Places block debuffs into Arbiter, who's going to increase turn meter. This is a very, very basic turn meter boosting team. But if it goes like this, okay, Siphi the fastest, make her 350 plus. Arbiter, as fast as we can possibly get her. Let's say actually like 315, okay, somewhere around there. And then from those champions, let's say you throw in a Madame Saris as well as your Ithos. This is like an OG team, a long time ago team that was super meta, not as popular anymore, but there's tons of different variations you can do from these champions. We have Duchess and Tormund, or we have Siphi plus Tormund. Now you can control the enemy. Do you have a Kymar? No. Maybe he has a Mighty Uko or something. Maybe some other strip champions. Tons of options, basically, okay? So I can go over making some other teams in a little bit, but definitely something worth doing, especially making an auto team where you can just click through this list, farm all your stuff, and progress your Great Hall, because progressing the Great Hall is going to very much tie into actually gearing your champions out correctly, because it's going to give you more accuracy, more resistance, more other stats that you need to do better with every area you're working in. More crit damage. I mean, there's so many good stats here. He's already got the accuracy maxed out, which is fantastic, but getting resistance maxed out for Hydra is going to be so helpful. Getting crit damage maxed out for your nukers, once again, going to be so incredibly helpful. So 3v3, this is definitely something that can be improved. I'm saying all this stuff, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter because we're focused on the gear here, but this is something, Gold 1, once the gear gets tweaked, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Gold 1 early next year, maybe even by the end of the year. Probably not then because not a ton of weeks left. We got, what, 2 months until the end of the year? November, December, yeah. So 2 months, going to be pushing a little bit, but definitely has a champions, definitely can start climbing up. I don't know how many weeks exactly that is going to be, but we need several weeks to actually climb up into silver, let alone gold. So what is it, like 5 weeks or so? So basically it's going to be January before we could do this, but I'd say February or March, Gold 1 for sure. Without a single doubt in my mind, Gold 1's achievable. So after Arena, Clan Boss, already checked it. There's one key, Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. Don't change anything there. If it's not consistent, adjust it. Maybe fix your blessings, glyphs and champions, put Toxic Sect. No, actually, you're using a Dracomorph, so it's perfectly fine. We have the Kin team right here. There we go. Easy one key. Don't fix it. It's perfect. Actually, don't change anything. It's doing its job. So as far as Hydra, this is what I'm thinking can be done. Currently, he is doing 1 key on normal, okay? I don't want to see this team on normal anymore. I want to see Nekmothar being used in a brutal team as soon as possible. Honestly, you have the champions for Nightmare, but I got a feeling the gear is going to be better suited for brutal. So brutal, hard, and normal should be the Hydra stages that are going to be finished once you're able to swap these champions over into the gearing style that I recommend. Now, I don't know for sure if the gear is going to allow for those areas of the game, but if you focus on hitting the kind of minimum thresholds that I'm going to mention, for these champions, you should be able to push into Brutal Hydra with a team, make a new team for hard, and then a team for normal, all these on full auto with the correct synergies. So that's all the main areas of the game. Doom Tower is going to be, once again, a thing where you kind of want to bring your best champions in here, push up to Doom Tower. The similar stat threshold, it's going to be a little bit different, but you do really want to push up in Doom Tower. He has done some Doom Tower stuff because you can look at the player, the icons. Actually, no hard mode Doom Tower. So hard mode Doom Tower, 100% something that he needs to do. And really, Doom Tower is not really worth farming at this point in the game unless you're doing hard mode. Normal Doom Tower, the bosses just aren't worth farming. You're going to be getting what? These low stuff. Even the Fortified Star gear, it's basically useless, okay? Just going to be honest. Don't waste your time farming this, maybe on Dark Fae, but really just work on pushing up to even low stages of hard, and that's going to be better. So as far as the Forge goes, we have a ton of rank and rarity charms available, 1,200 and 1,100. This right here tells me we have so much potential just from the Forge. As far as the Forge Pass sets, he has bought those, which is something I recommend anybody who's a spender whatsoever, assuming you're not 100% free to play, get the Forge Passes. Every single one of them are good. Some players aren't a huge fan of Instinct, so on and so forth. That's the one I see the most hate around, but honestly, Instinct is one of the best. I mean, there's only 4. So Instinct, though, is one that I use a ton. On my PvE champions who need speed, who need ignore defense, I can throw some accuracy on it as well. It's a set that I don't use in my arena nukers, but if you're somebody who's not pushing high levels of Fire Knight, this can be your best damage dealing set. And it pretty easily can as well, because it's just speed as well as ignore defense. It's an incredible set. So Instinct, definitely one worth buying. Bolster, fantastic for PvP. Defiant is incredible as well, but to be honest, I think Instinct and Bolster are 2 that I would say are more impactful or more immediately noticeable as far as the impact than Defiant and Righteous. They're both very good. Both Defiant and Righteous are amazing, don't get me wrong. But if somebody was like, okay, I'm relatively early in the game, I need 2 sets that can really do well for me, I'd say Bolster and Instinct are going to be the most noticeable for progression, unless you're later in the game, okay? Either way, these are all amazing. If you spend each month or whenever the Forge Passes are released, get them all. Now, when it comes to forging them, make sure you're forging with the charms based on the set that it is. Instinct, rank rarity. Never forge your Forge Pass stuff without using rank and rarity charms. And then over here, you can basically fill it in with whatever pieces you're missing. So initially, you can forge, say, half of your Forge Pass, okay? Half your Forge Pass with weapon, helmet, and shield, whatever it may be, okay? Just forge up a good stockpile of pieces, or just don't even use the charms here. Just use, okay, it's Instinct. We need damage. We're going to go crit rate. So forge a ton with crit rate, okay? Say you forged 150 with crit rate. Well, you go in there and see, okay, I have a ton of weapons, helmets. I don't have many shields, and I have a lot of gloves with crit damage main stat and crit rate substat. Well, now jump in there, okay, I need shields, because I think I said I didn't have any of those. So get some shields. Going to try for some crit rate on those. Maybe try for some boots. Whatever it may be. The top row pieces are easier to get good stats for because they can't have different main stats. It's always attack for weapon, always HP for helmet, and always defense for shield. So basically then just fill out your crafting with different pieces. You only need a 4-piece set, so you don't need everything, but just fill in the gaps with the next 150 forge pieces. And then for something like Bolster, think about it. Well, what champions are using Bolster? What champions should be using Bolster? Yes, if you quad roll speed, any champion can use Bolster. But to be honest, it protects 30%, makes a 30% protected shield for all allies for 3 turns, okay? The shield is based on HP. I want HP. Boom. Throw HP on this right over here. But it also heals by 10% every turn. So I'm getting benefits if I'm taking more turns. I'm getting benefits if I have a bigger HP pool. So HP or speed. Though speed you may want for things like perception, which kind of needs speed more, maybe for righteous. So be mindful, okay, if I throw HP on this, it's going to be beneficial for Bolster. It may not have a ton of speed glyphs. I may want to use those for different sets. So speed and HP are both glyphs that I definitely want to possibly use for Bolster. Definitely, possibly, no, just definitely. Use one of those. And then as far as the type charms, use really whatever you need to fill in your pieces, and then always use rank and rarity. Then Defiant. Okay, what are you looking for with Defiant? Well, it does defense, and it reduces the damage taken from AoE attacks. Defiant is a unique set because Defiant can work very well on damage dealers, and Hydra Anywhere you're taking AoE damage, it can work fantastic. It can also work very well on your support champions. Once again, areas like Hydra, it's a very good filler set. So, all right, so let me pick up hopefully where I left off, which is Defiant is a very good filler piece, especially, but it can be a full 6-piece set. I mean, it's going to be 3 benefits. So you're going to get 45% damage reduction from AoE attacks, as well as 30% extra defense. Really, the AoE damage is the biggest thing from Defiant set. So Defiant, excellent filler, excellent set in general. But when forging it, you can forge it just a few times without any charms over here, or put charms that are for damage dealers or charms for support champions. It's typically on support champions, though you can definitely make sense of it on champions for Hydra and things like that. Righteous is typically a support piece. Typically, Righteous is going on your mischief tanks, champions who you want high resistance for in the arena. So it gives you resistance. You're probably going to want more resistance. So go ahead and put a resistance charm on there. Nowhere else really do you use resistance charms anyways. Maybe up here on the Fortitude set, which to be honest, you're not farming a ton of that because lethal is just so much better, and they're both on the same Doom Tower rotation. Criteria that I gave was specifically for the Forge Pass sets, but this can apply to anything. If you're forging lethal, think about, okay, this is going to a damage dealer. Let's do rank and rarity. It's a very valuable set. Let's pick out helmet charms because I have no helmets, and then let's go crit rate because we're going to need crit rate on our nukers. If we don't have 100% crit rate, well, then we're not going to be building that champion as a nuker. Possibly speed, possibly some other charms, but to be honest, at least initially, I would be forging with crit rate on those pieces. That's just a loose overview of the forge. Make sure you're farming, make sure you're doing your arena, make sure you're doing all that stuff to gather up your forge materials. Very, very important stuff. Now, as far as the actual champion builds on this account, so Ninja, first things first, he is wearing crit rate gloves. I'm going to imagine that he wants to get him geared for Sand Devil. So if he was being geared for Sand Devil, what would I be shooting for? Well, I'd be shooting for specific stats. Not so much a specific set, but I would be looking for stats of like 220 plus speed, like 500-ish accuracy. I forget what Sand Devil requires, but like 500 accuracy. Crit rate, crit damage are irrelevant. I don't need that for the areas that I'm doing. Possibly regeneration gear, depending on how he's actually being built. So basically with this build, crit rate gloves, not needed. These pair of gloves are pretty good though. We got double roll speed. This could be used for somebody like Allure, so on and so forth. And a stun set, it's a pretty decent pair of gloves. The 5-star pieces on this champion, not fantastic. So speaking of, let's actually see how many 5-star pieces are on the account. So it's currently 791 5-star and 948 6-star. So a good distribution, though I'd really like to see the 5-star basically be worked out completely and just all go to 6-star because the account is pretty old and we're going to be farming those higher stages of dungeons, which I'm going to build some teams for in just a little bit. I'm not going to gear, but I will put some champions in and explain how it'll work. But this build is possibly used in very specific situations, but when you're pushing higher in the game, this build is just going to fall apart and fall behind. It's not going to perform very good. Mortu Macabre, not built, so we're going to skip past that. Siphi is in Stone Skin. Not for sure how much Stone Skin's on this account, though I definitely would recommend making your Siphi faster. The Siphi basically would require much more speed, make her your fastest champion. The reason why she should be your fastest is because this A2 ability places block debuffs, increase defense and increase speed. But most importantly, the block debuffs, having that the first thing up, allows you to fight Torment teams with no problem whatsoever. Have an Arbiter going after your Siphi is going to be fantastic because now she can boost without the fear of Torment freezing her. Or you could separate the two champions, have Arbiter as a speed booster in one team, have Siphi as a speed booster in a different team, possibly with Sun Wukong as a leader, and boom, now you have 2 speed teams. Just an idea, but the Siphi build, as far as the Stone Skin stuff, let's check it out. Not going to revamp the entire build, but let's talk about it. So masteries, not mastered. Arbiter's not mastered, okay? We have a lot of champions so far not mastered. Arbiter and Siphi both not mastered. Mastery is super important. You definitely want to fill that out on any champion that you're using with any significance whatsoever. So master your champions. But as far as the Stone Skin build, for what it is, let's see the pieces. So the gloves, crit damage, useless. Get that off. Speed, not very much. I would like to see HP percentage or defense percentage if you're going for a Stone Skin build, or if you're going for a speed build. This wouldn't matter. Just go for your highest speed possible. With that, it'd be speed, equipped, boom. Let's see. So we have Tamisha. Okay, there. Let's see anything other than boots because boots are always going to be on the top. So we have Helicath. These gloves, I'm getting all tongue-tied here, but these gloves, even though they are terrible main stat, which is fight attack, would be better on that Siphi if you're going the speed route. You're not going the speed route because she's on 243 speed. So not necessarily the best. You just need to figure out, okay, what is this Siphi? What purpose is she serving, okay? Is she going to be a speed booster? Well, I need her to give her tons of speed. Is she going to be a champion who's more for support. I want her to survive, okay? Well, now I need to think, okay, Stone Skin is going to be giving a shield based on her HP. So right now, her HP is 40,000. Very low HP. So that shield is going to be quickly removed from Stone Skin. So 43,000 HP, no. I want that to be more like 70, 80,000 HP because your PvP champions need a ton of HP. There's so much defense ignore stuff in PvP. I mean, you have Georgia who ignores a ton. You have most damage dealers ignoring tons of defense. So HP becomes significantly more valuable in that situation. So push up the HP a ton. If you're keeping Stone Skin, perfectly fine. Keep her fast. Push up a ton of HP, and she's going to be built out much better. This chest plate, not bad. This weapon is actually pretty good. It could quad roll. Let's see if it quad rolls actually. It's going to be sweet if it does. Quad roll HP. I didn't, but it's still got the speed roll. That's actually pretty decent. As far as this helmet goes, we have double roll speed, not bad. Double roll crit damage, not being used on Siphi, not great. And then the boots. So as far as Siphi build, really just focus on what your goals are with her and build your gear around that. Focus on getting your sets that are important. So if Stone Skin, you got to make sure you get the best stats around that. But then past that, focus on getting your stats to be correct. So sometimes you're going to focus on the stats overall. So if you're going for just 100% speed, just worry about the stats. But sometimes if you're going for a specific set, then you're going to have to value getting that set first and then working on the stats. Because things like Stone Skin, there's no stats that can replace what Stone Skin does. So you have to get Stone Skin. You have to get the best pieces of Stone Skin that fit into your build. And then your other two pieces, for example, can be whatever else can get you to the stat threshold that you need. So in this situation, I would honestly say, okay, HP percentage gloves are going to be fantastic. Let's get speed on those. I want the highest possible speed I can get. Let's see, HP percentage, double roll speed, boom. And now for the boots, let's go ahead and pick up this. So this isn't going to be the best as far as, oh, got that. Okay, we lose 10 speed, but now we get an extra almost 10,000 HP. And this isn't even fully maxed out. So we're going to have a bigger Stone Skin shield. We're not going to be quite as fast, but we're still going to be relatively fast compared to what we were before. Still not a great build in my opinion, but now you're getting more benefits because you're getting a useful stat here versus a useless stat. Now, useless stats are okay on your speed boosters, like on Arbiter. Give her crit damage. I don't care, because if you want her to go first, you may have flat attack on the gloves, flat attack on the chest plate, and that's just got to be what it is, right? So you can be first. You just got to throw on the useless pieces, just make it your fastest possible if that is your goal. Next up is Ithos. First things first, when I look at him, he's not wearing any defense ignore set whatsoever. No Savage, no Instinct. I know he's your arena nuker. So this, if he gets switched over to Instinct or Savage, is going to multiply his damage so significantly. That's just the first look, okay? Now, as far as the actual stats, he is wearing crit damage gloves, unless it's like incredible crit damage rolls on the substats. So crit damage gloves, the attack is pretty low, to be honest. 4,400. His base attack is 1,600. So I would love to see this closer to 5,000. The speed is kind of slow. I would like to see this closer to 200 speed. But let's take a look at these pieces, okay? Relentless, okay? A mix of stats. That's not a big deal. We have crit damage and crit rate. But as far as the other two, the defense, it's not great for Ithos. This is better for a champion like Ragash, which he does have. The accuracy shield, pretty good rolls. The resistance is kind of wasted, but it is what it is, right? This is a broken piece. I got a feeling he has better pieces than this, but this is what we're working with. These pair of boots definitely could be worked a set into. I mean, a cruel. I'm sure you have some cruel pieces that you could work with here with some crit rate rolls, but getting some defense ignore, boosting your attack in general is going to be so significant. So boom, okay, we got a cruel piece there. And the chest plate. Do we have anything attack percentage with the chest plate? We do, I think. Okay, so we lose 4 crit rate now, but can we roll up and get a roll in the crit rate? That'd be awesome. No, not quite. We got speed, which isn't bad. Let's see if we got anything that can actually get us to where we need to be in the cruel set, because now, just as an example, this would be, okay, now we're actually ignoring some defense. So these cruel pieces, you guys can't see them because they're behind me, unfortunately. But let's go ahead and roll this one up just a little bit. It has speed plus accuracy and crit rate. Accuracy not needed, but the crit rate could be used. It's 5 stars, so not fantastic, but basically what you would do is try to sift through here and say, okay, where can I find a piece that can give me what I need? Boom, this is almost perfect. We got 99% crit rate. We have 195 speed, and now we're looking for a shield that is going to give me more crit rate. I don't want to take anything from anybody. We're going to go more crit rate. We're going to value crit rate highly. Priority stats, crit rate, high. Boom. Should be very soon, I hope. Boom. There we go. We lose. There we go. Just very quick, simple swapping of gear. Now we have 4,700 attack. We have more speed, almost enough attack to make it reasonable. I still want more attack, but almost at that 5,000 mark. We have a lot more crit damage and, more, like I said, more speed. Plus, we have 5% more crit damage than we actually need. So essentially what I want you to do is come in here and make your builds go for numbers like this. Over here on my note sheet, I have some stat like thresholds I like to shoot for. It's right here. So for supports, you're looking for 225 plus speed. Honestly, in the arena, it's like 250 plus, but it's really situational. But supports is 225 plus speed, 50,000 HP, which in the arena is going to go way up past that. The 3.5k defense is going to kind of be like what you shoot for in PvP. It could be higher, but you really want to scale this HP number way higher in PvP. Like I said, a lot of champions, a lot of damage dealers either are attacking you with your decreased defense already up, or they're ignoring a portion of your defense anyways. So it kind of becomes irrelevant. You want a ton of HP because champions don't ignore your HP. And then accuracy if it's needed, as well as resistance if you want to build your champion for resistance. And as far as damage dealers, this is what I shoot for. This is all just an idea. Obviously, if you're more late game and stuff like that, in game, you're looking for stats way higher than this, but just an idea, okay? Defense ignore set, super important. This gives you a ton of damage just from ignoring the defense, okay? If you have a champion with 3.5k defense, they're mitigating a significant portion of your damage. You throw on a defense ignore set, instinct, savage, lethal, even cruel. You're adding tons of damage to your champion in general. 200 speed, 100% crit rate, 225% crit damage, and then 5k, just an idea of attack or defense, whatever the champion does damage based off of. So this ethos could go from where he is right now to being tremendously better with just a few tweaks of gear. I know this is your main damage dealer. Let's look at the Savage gear real quick. Let's see if there's anything there. Definitely prioritize your gearing for future champions with sets that basically make their role performance even better. Their performance in their role even better. Damage dealer, okay? We need defense ignore stats. Support champions. Can I use Relentless, okay? Maybe I can, maybe I can't. Can I use Cursed? Can I use Defiant? Can I use Regeneration? What sets on these support champions can I fit in to make a ton of sense? Can I use a shield set? Can I use a Guardian set? Could I put in protection to protect some buffs from these champions? You're coming to the point of the game where you don't just want to get the stats, okay? You don't just want the stats from these sets. You don't want this mismatched stuff. You want to get the best stats, but also get the benefit from specific sets. Obviously, the stats are still very important, so it is kind of a mix, but you really want to start focusing in on swapping over to those really good sets, because at this point in the game, you can put your filler pieces on like your faction war champions. You can put your filler pieces on those champions who don't need to be performing in the highest level of the game. They just need to get you through whatever portion of the game you're at, whatever spot in the game. So Rosin, decent build for him, I imagine, because he doesn't need to get you through a ton of stuff. Like, this is probably even okay. Just slap on some stuff for him, throw him in faction wars. It's no problem. I'm not saying to go through and gear all of your champions with the best gear, but gear your champions that you use the most with your best gear. I'm going to put some champions into presets and give you an idea of what I'm talking about, but let's click through just a few more of these, okay? Mithrala, not geared. A lot of champions not built. Tormund, this build could be very good. Not crit capped. Kind of slow. The defense is very close to what I like to see. And you have Siphi. The accuracy is pretty good. What I would love to see is, okay, drop some of this crit damage, put in some perception. Let's go defense percentage on the chest plate. It's crit rate. So we want to push up his defense. We would love some accuracy, but guess what? We have perception stuff. So we can just throw on perception. Boom. Now we have an extra 7% crit rate. We have an okay amount of accuracy right now, but we're about to add a decent chunk to that. So crit rate, we're going to go ahead and prioritize crit rate here as well. This piece, you guys can see the stats boosted over there. So this piece from Rio gives an extra 7% crit rate. And now, do we got anything in Instinct that could give me some more crit rate as well? If so, it's going to be fantastic. It'd be a very easy, very simple swap. Seer, I don't really want to swap her stuff, even just for the sake of the video, to be honest. Let's go ahead and do it. Just an idea. So right here, boom. Now we have 100% crit rate, so we're actually landing our crits. We have less crit damage. I don't love this build still, and I would actually play around with it more, but we are better speed, a little bit lower defense. So the damage dealt is going to be higher because you're actually landing your crits all the time. But as far as this actual build, I would definitely play around with it quite a bit more and definitely adjust some things in different ways. But this is something that could be worked on. This Tormund could be hitting extremely hard. I love the defense ignore set on him. I think that's fantastic, but I would love for you to shoot for 100% crit rate, The accuracy's fine. That's actually not a big deal. 200 accuracy-ish for the arena. The speed's a bit slow. He's not going to get a ton of turns, and the defense could be higher to really start smacking. Also, if you're going damage dealing, don't worry about placing your debuff so much. Fearsome Presence is good if you're going for like a support build, but you don't have enough accuracy to go for that necessarily. So swap this over, go Helm Smasher, go a typical damage dealer build, and don't even worry about the Fearsome Presence nonsense. That's a few damage dealer builds. Wither the Crowned, not built, but let's see Elva. Elva, speed, how fast is she? 202 or 210. Hey, look, you got 57,000 HP. I like to see that. That is a solid amount of HP. 3,500. Oh, wait, actually, I built this Elva. I don't want to do that. That feels a little bit weird. I did build his Elva, though. The Venus. This is actually, I did not build this champion. This is a good build. I like this, okay? We have good accuracy for most areas of the game, except for like higher levels of Hydra. Throw on an accuracy banner and you should be fine if she doesn't already have one. Yeah, throw on an accuracy banner, you're gonna be fine. You have 62,000 HP. You have okay defense. We could push up a little bit more and be better, but 237 speed, I love to see that. Crit damage, where is that coming from? These gloves, boom, okay. Easy swap. Take these gloves. Don't put crit damage stuff on champions like Venus if you can't get 100% crit rate, and make it make sense, okay? For this champion, you're going to want to prioritize sustainability, survivability, support. She's actually very good in Relentless Gear as well, but you want to make sure she actually survives because her damage isn't so much from her raw hits. It's from decreased defense plus weaken, making your team do more damage, as well as the HP burn. If you can get her for 100% crit rate, it's fantastic, but I wouldn't look at her as a Royal Guard or a Husk who's specifically damage. Definitely make her fast. Make her survivable. She's more of a support champion for your entire team, boosting their damage. At least that's how I look at her. So as far as Immortal, defense percentage, boom, Nia. Perfect example. I wouldn't swap this over because you're still progression through faction wars, but boom, 2,600 defense. We're going to work to that 3,000 plus number. Going to be pretty easy. You have some extra defense there, and boom, we're getting pretty close to that. So now you're getting the good speed, getting good HP, good defense, just some small tweaks. So get rid of those crit damage gloves from Venus. They're not doing anything. The only time I put crit damage gloves on somebody is if they're 100% crit rate or if they are guaranteed crits on all their abilities. Ithos is a champion who does guaranteed crits, but I wouldn't build him with less than 100% because you're going to be using his other skills as well. So champions who do guaranteed crits, I don't know if anybody does that on all their skills, those champions you could build with low percent crit rate. So your Draco, I would go 100% crit rate. He's working your clan boss fine though, so maybe don't swap that out just yet. Now let's take a look at some of these gear sets. So life, sell it. You don't need it unless you have like a god tier piece. And what I would consider a god tier piece is like a epic or legendary that has 3 subsets that all make sense together. So say crit rate, crit damage, and speed could be used on a ton of different champions, and it triple rolls or double rolls into like a really, maybe it's like a triple roll crit rate. That could be worth keeping. A piece that doesn't matter if it's in a set, you're going to keep that. But if it's a set, if it's a piece like, let's see, this one has HP, crit damage, and accuracy. Who are you putting this on? Well, damage dealer, no, because it has accuracy and HP. Kind of weird. It's a life set, so there's no set bonuses from that. So probably no one. Boom, sell. It's a 6-star. I don't care. This next piece, okay, HP percentage, possibly could be kept, but you have Immortal, you have Defiant, you have tons of pieces that are better than Life. Life is just 15% HP. It's not equipped currently. Don't even worry about it. Boom, sell it. This piece, 5-star crit damage, HP percentage, it's useless. Get rid of it. This piece, double roll speed, it's a 5-star piece. Literally, you have better pieces in speed set that actually give you more speed bonuses. So boom, sell that. HP percentage, sell that. You're not going to need it. You have so many better pieces. This one could possibly be a keep. However, it has no other good substats here. It has no speed. It has no possibly accuracy, but I would love to see speed on this to make it actually possibly worth keeping, because even a triple roll 23% crit rate or 23% HP isn't enough to want to keep this in a life set. I mean, when are you going to use this? You're not going to use it on a support champion because there's no accuracy resistance, and you're probably going to need that on most champions. There's no speed, so just a sell, easy. Honestly, life sets are basically going to be sells all the time. You have so many better options than a double roll on a rare helmet. 5-star, don't even look at that. Don't even look at the 5-stars in these sets that you're just not going to use. These pieces, boom, sell everything. The only thing I may not sell a ton of are like speed boots, okay? Speed boots can be used a lot. I know you're struggling with speed boots, so you may want to keep some of these, but you don't need a plethora of speed boots either. You have 153 currently and 220 total in your account. So it's not a huge deal if you keep them until you start getting some with crit rate substats, accuracy substats, things like that. But for now, you can say the 6-star ones. Honestly, the 5-star ones probably just can get rid of. As far, actually, did I do that correctly? Let me see. Speed boots, we have 153, yeah, 220, boom. So now let's go through a few of these other sets real quick. So offense, let me go ahead and minimize everything. Offense, what do we got here? So we have attack, that's actually decent. That could be used on some champion, extra 15% attack. It's not a set that I would prioritize, but currently you're working on getting your champions better built, and double roll crit rate is something that you're definitely gonna wanna have. Now the other two stats at the bottom, crit damage is good, resistance isn't gonna be used on your damage dealer, but for your account and your champion's current builds, I wouldn't be so quick to sell this piece, but if it was 5-star, I definitely would. 6-star, boom, you're not going to use it on anybody. It's double roll attack, resistance and accuracy. It's too weird to even use. Crit damage and speed, you're not going to use it. Resistance, no. This shield with double roll speed and crit damage, it's weird. It's 5-star, get rid of it. Just like be quick to get rid of pieces. Honestly, you have so many pieces currently. You have tons of pieces not leveled. You have tons of pieces of gear that if you accidentally sell something that could be pretty decent, it's not going to be the end of the world. So you need to make some space so you can get back to farming, because right now all your stuff is very full. But as far as a quick look at the sets, let me give you a quick opinion on what I think about these sets. So life and offense, very good pieces keep, most pieces sell. Defense, same thing, there's just so many pieces better. Speed, you're looking for speed. If you get good rolls on damage dealer stats, possibly keep it for your account level. Accuracy and things like that, also useful as well. But mediocre pieces, just sell them. 5-star blues, just sell them. You're probably not going to need any of that stuff. Most of the 5-star pieces you're going to sell, and the 6-star pieces are going to be easier to keep. Crit rate, if it's a damage dealer piece or triple roll, say speed, then maybe it's worth keeping. Crit damage, damage dealer set, you're looking for damage dealer stats. Crit rate and speed, possibly crit damage. If it doesn't have any of those three, ideally 2 of those at least, then you're most likely going to sell it. Accuracy, very particular on what you keep, because perception is just downright better. So accuracy, you need speed, you need accuracy. Possibly if you have really good rolls in a crit rate, it could be used on a champion like Allure. But most of the time, I'm looking for very good rolls in all these sets up here. If not, I'm just selling it. I mean, this possibly could be used, but you have righteous, you have perception, which is just going to be better than this. And then this piece right here, well, who's using this? Okay, crit rate, accuracy, HP, it's 5-star. Nobody's using it. Get rid of it. Your account's too far along to actually need that stuff. Speed, double roll crit damage, defense, and accuracy. It's 6-star. You could possibly go speed again. I'll leave it there just for the sake of you. Actually, no, I'm not going to leave it there. I'm not going to keep selling gear though, because I don't want to make this a gear cleanse video, but you could be very harsh on your gear and definitely start making some better progress. Accuracy, be harsh on it. Resistance, you're looking for resistance, possibly speed, but definitely resistance. If it doesn't have resistance, you're basically going to get rid of it. Lifesteal pieces. This is something that you don't really need anymore, to be honest. Lifesteal is something that you used to need. You're looking for damage dealer stats because support don't heal really well off of lifesteal, just to be honest. So you're looking for things like crit rate, speed, crit damage, things like that. But really, you're just going to be selling it, to be honest. I mean, a lot of these pieces, because if it's just like support stats, speed, accuracy, resistance, HP percentage, outside of War Master procs, you're not really going to be healing off of it. You can heal from it, but you have so much gear, just sell a ton of this stuff unless it rolls very well. This is not an example of a piece that rolls very well. This one is not either. It could have, but it didn't. So just get rid of it. These boots, even if it's speed boots, you can keep a couple pieces if you want, but to be honest, it's just worth selling most of it because you're really not going to be using it. Fury, very niche. You can sell most of it and be fine. It's a damage dealer set, more or less. Days, very niche. Sell a good portion of it. Keep a little bit just in case you want to make it used on somebody. It's not really a damage dealer set, more of a champion set, like a Hegemon or something. Some champions in the arena, it's not a great set. Cursed is a set that can be saved, especially if it has speed, accuracy. Typically, it's placed on champions who place debuffs, do AoE attacks. It's very good there. Could be used on a damage dealer, but most likely going to be used on a support. So things like speed, HP, accuracy are going to be very important. Frost, you can sell a lot of it, be pretty strict. It's going to take me a long time to go through all these sets. So I do want to point out sets that are like Savage, Relentless, possibly Stun, Provoke kind of, Reflex sort of, Cruel and Immortal. You can be a little bit more forgiving on what you keep, because especially 6-star specifically. Let's see what's next. We have Perception, Speed, and Accuracy, what you're looking for there. HP percentage on the bottom row pieces are very, very, very valuable, especially if it has speed as a substat. HP percentage gloves, same thing with chest plates. Defense percentage gloves and chest plates, super valuable. Frostbite, okay. Situational protection, mostly keeping speed stuff and like tanky stuff. It's used on your buff champions. Stone Skin, you're going to keep a ton of this. You can keep a ton of this and be fine because it can be used on tons of different champions. Killstroke, Crit damage and speed, it's a little bit better than crit damage set, but it's kind of difficult to get. Honestly, I wouldn't be buying that from the clan shop unless you're got plenty of clan gold. There's just more valuable things in my opinion. Instinct, Bolster, and Defiant Righteous, I kind of already talked about all that. But the sets I mentioned are the ones that are going to be your mainly used sets. Those are the sets that you're going to be putting on most of these champions. Those are the sets that you can be a little bit more forgiving about what you actually sell. Now, when you're going through these sets, think about who is going to be wearing this particular set. Not so much who could possibly benefit from these stats, because you're at the point where you really need to start switching over into the, hey, sets are my goal. Stats are still very important, but sets are my goal. Now, with that said, I don't want you to take that out of context. Anybody watching this video and say, okay, well, I got a savage chest plate, for example, that has resistance and triple roll speed. Well, that could be used on somebody else, okay? That's still fine. If it rolls well, like exceedingly well, then yeah, keep it. But if it's a 5-star chest plate that triple rolls accuracy and its resistance, well, yeah, that could possibly be used on somebody, probably not. So I would just get rid of it. In Perception or Righteous, you may keep that, because especially now that in Arena, actually, no, I probably wouldn't even keep it then. But just an idea, you don't have to sell everything if it rolls well, but in general, if you're trying to save your silver and be mindful of your rolls, make sure the substats match up fairly well and actually make sense when you're upgrading the piece, and the set that it belongs to as well actually matches. It's going to make your gear storage shrink drastically, as well as make your life when it comes to everything much easier, because most of these pieces here are going to be easy to sell. That's just all the artifacts. The accessories are going to be kind of similar. Like if you have a defense ring that rolls a ton of attack percentage, well, you know who's going to use that? Nobody. Absolutely nobody's using that. Easy sell. If you have an attack necklace that doesn't have accuracy, probably nobody's using that, because with your attack necklaces, you want accuracy for your bomb champions in most situations. So rings, if they're defense and they roll attack, you're going to get rid of them. Most of the time, you want bottom substats to be percentage, and you ideally want those to match the main stat as well. For rings, for example. For necklaces, you want things to match. For banners, you want things to match as well. Most of the time with banners, you want some speed, because that's the only piece of jewelry that you can actually get speed on. Wow, that was a big, massive breakdown on gearing. Hopefully that actually kind of helps you out. As far as what I would actually sell, though, I wouldn't be very, I guess, hoardy. Maybe hoardy, that sounds like a weird word. I would not be hoarding your gear very much. You'd definitely be more willing to sell it than you are to keep it for most of your stuff, because of how much stuff you actually have, especially in the sets that are so plain and basic as a lot of these, especially this top like 4 or 5 sets. Very, very plain. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very plain sets, including accuracy. You're moving into more of the niche sets. Now, how are you going to get those niche sets? Well, we come over here to dungeons. Ice Golem. Ice Golem, stage 1 heart. Actually, any Ice Golem stage, let me show you a team that's going to work. And this is going to help you out with the future gearing as well. So we've got some champions who we use in a lot of different areas of the game. These champions are going to get your best gear possible. So for Ice Golem, HP burn is going to be the golden ticket to stage 10 hard mode. Sishia, for example. Actually, this team can get you through everything, but let's just do this. This team right here will get you through literally everything into the stage 10 hard mode without too much of a problem. All right, so here's Artak. So Artak, throw him in there. What your goal is to get Artak to the boss and let him do some work. Everything past that is going to be perfectly fine, no problem whatsoever. So Duchess, Artak, throw in a Siphi, throw in a Sishia for some faster wave clearing, faster wave control, and then throw in a Pythion if you want. Pythion's going to be a champion you're using in the arena, a champion you're using in a lot of different areas possibly, and going to be a champion who will keep you alive on the boss. Now, this is not going to be a fast team. This is going to be a survivable team. Now, the good thing about this team is Duchess. You're using her in this area. You're going to probably be using her in Doom Tower. You're going to be using her in Arena for sure. So her gear can be the best gear on your account because you're using her in so many different areas. Siphi, another champion who you're using in this possibly. You're using in Doom Tower, possibly. You're using in the Arena, most likely. So her gear can be some of the best gear in your account, and no problem whatsoever. You can specifically make sure that she's in the fastest stone skin gear you have. Make Duchess in the best bolster gear you have. Make Pythion in the best stone skin gear you have. Whatever you're going for, put these champions in your best gear. For Artak, make him fast. What I mean by fast is make him 230, 240 plus speed. He's not a damage dealer. He is a more type of support type build, but you're going for accuracy. So good accuracy, shooting for like 300 accuracy on stage 10 hard mode, possibly even more. As far as speed, 220 plus, typical support build, very good HP and good defense. Boom, you're gonna have a solid Artak build. Sishia, very similar stuff. These builds can also translate over to Hydra. So Hydra, these battles, Doom Tower, the arena. Try to get a core group of champions that you're gonna be using in many different areas. You could honestly go over here to your Hydra, build out a lot of those champions, and those same champions that you're using in Hydra are gonna be used in your dungeons as well. So for example, I don't know if I got time to do this. Let's say Necmo plus Duchess or plus Siphi to mitigate the fears from the head of Torment. You could throw in some good damages. Okay, so we got Royal Guard. Actually, Duchess is probably better than Siphi because it's going to be a little bit easier to stay alive. We got that. We got Mithrala for some Hex plus some cleanses every now and then. We got, for block buffs, we have Ugo. She's somewhere around here. Boom, Ugo. So now we got some good damage. We have Ugo. We have a bunch of stuff from Necmo, decrease speed, the whole 9 yards, you have block buffs, and now we need a provoke champion, plus we need another damage dealer ideally. Do you have a Husk? Husk would be a great champion in that spot, or we could find another provoke champion. I don't even know who you have for provoke, to be honest, right off the top of my head. But Husk could do some provoking, or you could throw a provoke set on Uko, or not Uko, on Necmo Thar. A provoke set on him could work out pretty well, but you don't necessarily have to do that. If you had a Husk or if you had a different champion in place to provoke, will help you with controlling the head of DK. But this is just a really quick example. But now you can look at these champions. Okay, Mithrala is going to be used in a lot of different areas. When it comes to Spider, placing Hex, burning the spiders, blowing them up with Sishia plus Artak. Like I said earlier, these champions are going to be used in multiple situations. Boom. Now you have a team that's going to be used in many different areas. You can dedicate your best gear to these champions, and it's going to make the entire distribution of your gear much easier. You're going to have much less spread on your overall thoughts, and it's going to be much easier just to focus down. So let's go over some of these notes real quick before I wrap up this video. These are what I said for the account. So gearing for niche sets and higher overall stats. We're looking for substats that are very valuable, specifically for the set that we're in, for the role of the champion, most importantly, and good rolls on those substats. We don't want anything wasted if at all possible. Supports, this is what I'm aiming for. Damage dealers, I'm aiming for this. Sets are becoming more valuable. Once again, used to be stats over sets. Now it's sets, not necessarily over stats. We're looking for both of them. But at this point, we have plenty of gear, and we're looking for better sets for those stats. Now, like I mentioned, faction war champions and champions who are not pushing higher stages of the game, they don't need excellent gear. They just need to hit their crit rate if possible, accuracy, be 200 plus speed, and they're going to be fine. They kind of fall into a lesser version of the support type build, in my opinion. And then here, we're finding a core set of champions and build them for content. So this is going to be just your group of champions that you're using in many different areas like I mentioned. So number one, push faction wars. Get plenty of forge materials so you can forge more perception gear. Perception gear makes everything gearing much easier. Getting higher accuracy, higher speed. The set bonuses from perception are going to be fantastic for hitting those higher support numbers especially. So perception, super important. But faction wars, the glyphs, everything, do your faction wars. Faction wars is absolutely crucial. Speaking of glyphs, how much do we have? We have a decent stockpile of glyphs. Imagine if you're farming stages 20 or 21 of faction wars for all that time. It'd be even better. So next up, push hard mode dungeons. This is something that can be done and pushed to stage 10 hard by the end of the year, without a doubt. Work on Hydra teams. Brutal, hard, and normal can definitely be finished. The gearing may not allow for that, so definitely work for hard as well as normal, and then brutal as soon as possible. I do think your gear, though, can do brutal, hard, and normal right now. Climb Doom Tower is super important. You got to build a team out for that. May take a little bit of time. And then this is also super important. Keep HP defense percent pieces with speed and have more crit rate substats on your damage dealer pieces in general. So get rid of crit damage gloves, get rid of crit rate gloves, get more crit rate substats, and your damage dealers are going to begin to hit a lot harder. For your support champions, no more crit damage stuff. Let's see how many HP percentage gloves you even have in your account. These are super, super valuable. So 27, specifically with speed, 12, 25 total in your account. These are extremely valuable pieces. Double roll speed are so, so useful. Same thing with the HP percentage chest plates. So extremely helpful. Get your stuff to level 12 also. I see a lot of stuff that's not leveled up. Definitely get to level 12. In general, this account has tons of potential. I mean, we have a lot of very solid champions who are waiting to be just amazing, basically. But we need to work on the gearing of the champions. Obviously, he already knows that. That's what he's reached out to me for, is to help talk about and go over some of the gearing for these champions and kind of what kind of gear he needs to sell. So be very strict with your gear. It's okay. You can do that. Get your gear down. Get it pretty low. 5-star, most of those pieces are going to be a pretty easy sell. 6-star, think about, okay, do the substats actually match each other? Do they match the set? Does the set match the substats? If so, boom, we keep that piece. Not necessarily all of those have to align, but you do want some of those to be aligning. You don't have to be so strict that every single thing has to be perfect, but you do want it to make sense. Like this right here, does it make sense? Not really. I mean, most shield champions, except for Mountain King, aren't really going to be a damage dealer, but you could keep this because it does have great substats. It's 6-star, it's crit rate, attack, and speed, which could go on a damage dealer as a broken set. So where this account is currently, that's an okay piece to keep. The substats don't really match the set, but it's okay. We can have some filler pieces. That's not a big deal. But then we have pieces like this. Does this make sense? I mean, it's attack and speed. It's 6-star, so not really. We're looking for HP percentage with just 2 rolls. So this rare piece is probably going to be a sell. This piece makes more sense. It's HP percentage plus speed. So that makes sense. 5-star, speed and resistance? Not really. 6-star possibly, but 5-star, no. This doesn't make sense. You guys can't even see it. Defense and attack percentage? No, it doesn't make sense. So just think about that on each of your pieces. What is the set being used for? What champions is it going to go on? Does the substats make sense? Would this possibly be used as a broken set and like legitimately better than my actual set pieces? Would this actually make sense? Most of the time it's not going to be happening, but in a situation like this where all the substats are good and they actually roll pretty decent as well, this one could make sense. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed that video. It's been an hour long. Thank you all very much for watching, and hopefully maybe you taken something from this. Like I said, everybody's account's different though. Your account may be past this point. Your account may not even be to this point yet. But this, let's check out the Seer build. Last but not least, this is a good build. I like this. Don't even need that much accuracy, but she can use accuracy, but this is solid. We have defense ignore stuff. If every one of your champion builds were like this, that'd be okay. You'd be in a good spot. This could be even more crit damage, crit rate, but this is perfectly fine. I do like this. This is a very solid build. I personally like Flawless Execution more, a little bit less RNG, but Helm Smasher does plenty of damage. So guys, thank you all very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next one.